Hey everyone, welcome to the Inner Dragon podcast, where we share and empower the voices of our community to inspire the next generation of leaders. I am one of your co-hosts, Raj Parekh.
And I'm your other co-host, Nathan Liu. And today, I'm so glad that we get to start off with a very special guest. He is the head of the Dragon Kim Foundation, who is on a mission to inspire our youth to impact their communities while discovering and pursuing their own passions. And so I'd love to introduce a leader in business and a leader in life, Mr. Daniel Kim. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Well, I'm super glad to have you here. It's a different setting than how we usually interact on our Zoom calls and in our trainings. But I think personally, and I know that a lot of the other fellows in the foundation are curious about what really drove you to go on this journey for the Dragon Kim Foundation.
Well, in 2015, August of 2015, my son was tragically killed in an accident, along with his very close friend Justin Lee. And we were camping up in Yosemite, and in the middle of the night, a big tree branch fell onto their tent, killing them. And so it was really the genesis of this was the grief that we had, and trying to find an outlet for the love that we had and still have for our son, and what we tried to do for him as well as his sister. So really it started off as a project to honor Dragon and give his spirit a chance to continue living and build his legacy. And so that was really the genesis of it all.
For sure. And I think one of the valuable aspects of the foundation is not only are you helping carry his legacy, but you're creating one legacy for, everyone who's part of that program. And one of the messages that really stuck with me was the be, do, have mentality. And I wanted to ask you, when did you really adopt the be, do, have mentality? When did that turning point occur in your life?
The whole concept of be, do, have, Raj, is something I think that's very important. I think in one way we all embody these things. We may not be fully aware of it. So I couldn't tell you, exactly when it started or didn't start. But I know consciously, a little over a year after Dragon was killed, I started doing a lot of work in self-discovery and emotional intelligence. And that's when I really came across be, do, have as part of the language, a descriptor, if you will. And be, do, have is really layers of our existence, our commitment, our passion, and how we express that in the world. And and I think culturally, we're taught, to want certain things, to have a certain goal in mind.
Right.
And so we start off with, have, I want to have the career. I want to have the Ferrari.
Yeah.
I want to have the big house. And that gives you a certain set of to-dos, if you will. And then those to-dos, once achieving the big house or the goal, then you can be happy. And then really the concept of be, do, have turns that teaching that we get culturally on its head, reverses it. Why can't we already be happy? And when we are already being happy, that gives us a very different set of to-dos.
It really
And
doesn't become any less profound the more I hear the concepts and just switching those two last words around.
absolutely, Nathan, absolutely. It is already starting off from a place of fulfillment, of gratitude, of it's a mindset of abundance, and really allows your vision, your commitment, your passion to really express itself, regardless of the circumstances that you find yourself in.
For sure.
I
And
would love to pick
yeah,
up on that actually. And
go for it.
so I thank you, Raj. I know that you, Mr. Kim, have been a leader in business and even had a philosophy aspect to what you do for a very long time. And I think when you talk about the culture, primarily in the West, and growing up in this culture of progress, individual progress, how did you go from this profit businessman to becoming a leader in social entrepreneurship?
It was actually quite natural. Unfortunately, given the circumstances of Dragon's passing,
Right, right.
um, um, my pastor said it very well. When that accident happened, my wife and I, we were both in a state of anger, disbelief, utter pain,
Yeah.
and all those things that come along with it. And we asked I think the natural question is why?
Right.
How is it? And so as we move forward, it the pastor said it gives you a gift. And I thought, how could the passing of my son ever be a gift? He
Mm,
said, well, the pain, the grief will always be there, but there is a gift of perspective. It really puts into light those things that are important. It kind of goes back to the question, if you lost everything or you're about to lose everything, what are the things that are really most important to you, right?
Right.
And that's really it. So, I've been very successful in business. I've had a very successful career as an investment banker and a private equity investor. And But at the end of the day, none of those achievements really mattered. None of those achievements really uh, gave me the satisfaction. They were great. They gave me, money. They gave me means to have a comfortable life. And But at the end of the day, I would trade anything to have my son back.
Right.
Uh, but but given that my son is not coming back, um, it really pushes one to think about what is important for the remainder of your life, right?
Yeah.
And whether you're, in your 50s or 40s, or even if you're just, starting off your career in your 20s, or even if you're a high school student,
Hmm.
right? What are the things that are really important to you? What is that perspective?
Yeah.
And asking myself those questions came to realize I love teaching. I love when young people come to their own realizations and wisdom and can really bring about their own passion and commitment and their own vision and finding their own voice.
Mhm.
That's what's more important. That's amazing. And that's exactly what we are trying to do for Dragon and his sister. And why not do that for a lot of young people?
Yeah.
And so that, yeah. So sorry, it's a long-winded answer, but that's how we came about.
For sure. I think you definitely touched on a very powerful thing, which is a lot of us, go through struggles, whether they're big or, small, and we ask ourselves why. But it's sometimes it's out of our control, and it's the reaction that we have that truly matters. And I think you also touched on, your motivation to impact the youth. because I think the generation of today can really capture some of the beauty that you just mentioned. And I wanted to ask you, if you could go back and talk to your high school self or your college self, what is one thing that you would change about what you did, or, give advice, to that young Daniel Kim?
Hmm, that's a very interesting question. There's so much advice that I would give myself in high school. I think part of which, and this is only for me really, I would tell myself, don't be stupid, because there's a lot of things I did and a lot of reasons why I did them that
Yeah.
just weren't that important. Um, and at the time, I thought it was so critical, right? Um, Going to the good school, going to achieve this or get this award or whatever, or even the reasons why I did those things.
Right.
So, yeah, I would tell myself first, that perspective, and maybe I kick myself in the butt by saying don't be stupid, but it really is a question of perspective, right? Find out those things that are really important to me or to you as the high school, high school version of myself,
Right.
right?
Exactly, right? I personally, I can speak on that exponentially. Mr. Kim, that really hit home with I guess high school is just overall feeling these expectations or ideals in life for who
Right.
you want to be, where you want to go, whether it's normal for you to deviate from the societal norms or it's normal for you to follow in your parents or your family's footsteps. Everyone seems to have this set path already so young, but it's all about how broad you can widen your perspective.
Sure, absolutely. People, I know for a lot of, high school students, you have parents who, tell you do this, do that,
Mhm.
or, social norms and social pressures and things like that. And I'm not saying don't follow any of that. Hear it all, listen to it all. There's some good wisdom and good advice in all of that, but it's really up to you to decipher it,
Mhm.
to be open to it, and if you can be honest with yourself, then follow a good path,
Right.
right? One of the things is really hearing that voice inside of you, of what do you want?
Mhm.
What do you want? And that question right there is incredible. It seems so innocuous and unimportant,
Yeah.
um, but it is so important. And we're not talking about what do you want as in, what do you want for dinner? Do I go to In and Out or do I go to somewhere else, right? And you know what? Maybe it all starts off there, but at the end of the day, notice your own voices, your own conversations that are happening inside your own brain. Um, I want to become a doctor,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
why? Why? And maybe the analogy or the teaching goes back to say, I mean, karaoke is kind of a thing that people like to do, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Whether you're a professional singer and have a great voice, or whether you're just kind of like me with a terrible voice, we all can sing, right?
Right.
And in participating in music contest or singing contest or karaoke or whatever, when you decide to sing, ask yourself, are you singing for singing sake, or are you singing for the adulation and for the attention? Only you really know,
Right.
and so you can sing, and if you're singing for singing sake, whether you're hitting those notes or whether you sound terrible doesn't really matter, right? But if you're singing for the attention or the adulation or the image, then you know the unimportant part wants you to look good. And it's really up to you to evaluate and be honest and to think about why you're doing it, right?
For sure.
And in that way, a lot of decisions in your life, what do you want? You know, if you notice, we all talk ourselves out of things. You know, I want to become a doctor. I'm really committed to this.
Yeah.
Oh, but what if I don't get into medical school? Oh, what if I don't get into the right school? Oh, what if, you know, what if? And these are all conversations that take place, you know, in our own heads. And then we end up talking ourselves out of it. Right. So start off with, what do you want? And again, it could be something you want to do, something you want to be, could be, I want love, or I want, I want to pour my heart into this community. Whatever it is, you can decide that. And all those other conversations that go on in your head, don't let it stop you. Don't let it detract from you.
You're the one in control.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. I think on a more lighthearted note, we did talk about your youth a little. We wanna kind of get to know you a little bit better, and the legend and the myth of 3-Day Daniel. What is that?
I think the fellows who haven't heard this would be very curious.
We did our research here at Inner Dragon
Oh
Podcast.
yeah.
We want to know.
Okay, so yeah, the 3-Day Daniel is what some of my friends used to call me, because when I was a student, an undergraduate student at UCLA, I studied philosophy, and I loved philosophy. But you know, I was in a period of my life when I got kind of lazy, and I had jobs, and I liked to hang out at the beach, and all the things that probably, I don't know, was very distracting. And so there were a number of classes where I would, you know, show up at the new quarter, the first day of class, to make sure that my name was on the list, on the registrar.
Mm-hmm.
The middle of class, or the middle of the quarter, to pick up paper topics, because, you know, some of these upper division philosophy courses, or not just philosophy courses, but upper division seminar courses, 100% of your grade might be the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And the last day of class to turn in my paper. And so, you know, a lot of classes, I used to only show up for 3 days, the beginning, paper topics, and then the turn it in. And so some of my friends started calling me 3-Day Daniel. And I will not say that I did that for every class, because I certainly didn't, but it became a joke. It became a joke. So yeah.
Oh, is there anyone that you'd like us to whitelist, or from seeing this podcast, or are you fine?
Oh, I'm fine, you know. But what I did was, if again, if I could go back and advise that younger Daniel, I'd say, you know what? Again, don't be dumb, don't be stupid. Go to class. There is a reason why you're there, and you are missing out.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that would be a great light note to close out on. But thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Kim. It has been a pleasure. And for everybody listening at home, please make sure to check out the Dragon Kim Foundation on their website, as well as the various YouTube videos and Instagram that they have. Mr. Kim, is there anything else that you'd like to plug in about the foundation?
We're always looking for, you know, young people who want to go help change their corner of the world, want to do a service project. And if you want to learn how to do that, to find that inner leadership, that inner leader in you, apply. It's a great program, and we need to get the word out. So,
And
For sure.
it's just going up from here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Mr. Kim, and we
Thank you
wish
so much.
everybody health and happiness at home.
thank you guys. Yeah, it's wonderful working with you guys. It's an honor to be here. and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on your podcast.
Of course, it's our pleasure.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much for listening to The Inner Dragon, and we'll catch you on our next episode.